Welcome back to Signature Morning on Signature TV. We're still talking about, issues that are trending in the country and, in the states. Now, one of that is the UN FAO ranking of Nigeria among food insecure countries amongst 16 other countries which are described as war-torn countries. This has raised a lot of concern about the agricultural sector in our country. Now, joining us via Zoom this morning, we have Reginald Nebwe, an agriculture expert, to discuss this issue. You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me in the studio today.
Thank you for coming. Now, from your perspective as an agriculture expert, how do you see this ranking of Nigeria? How accurate would you say it is? And, what does it reflect about our food situation?
I would like to answer your question by just using the public experience when it comes to the hunger index. You see, when they talk about figures, you don't need to go to anywhere to feel when to ascertain whether the figures that are being projected are real or not real. Nigeria has been ranked out of the 123 countries of the world. We have been ranked 115 in the hunger situation, and it's correct. Nigerians are hungry. The circumstances are not going the way they ought to go. Our agricultural activities are not functioning in best practices and technology-driven performances, and that has been a very big problem for the Nigerian agriculture. And then number two, the policy direction of the nation, of our government has also not encouraged anyway. Now, I can say to you that um, the projections are accurate. The projections are reflecting exactly what is obtainable and happening. The people are hungry. 2, 3 years ago, you could actually go out and eat food for 100 naira and eat good food. But now you cannot buy food, you cannot buy anything for anything less than 1,000 something naira when the incomes of the people have not increased. And remember that poverty is not actually the lack of money. Poverty is the lack of the opportunity to create money. And then two, the cost of food is also something.
Mr. Nebwe, are you there? Can you hear us? Wow,
Okay,
it's quite unfortunate.
it's
It
quite
seems that
unfortunate. But looking at what we are talking about, the subject matter at hand now, are we ever going to come back from this? Because the likes of the states that produce, the food producing states in Nigeria, let's take Benue, for example, and the things that is going on there, the land grabbing problems, the problem
the
with the
farmer
headers
header
clash and
clashes,
all
food
that. Are we
insecurity.
ever going to recover from that?
Well, I mean, I would say that a lot of people are at risk of acute hunger because of this, and it would take a lot to come out for. But at the same time, there are some school of thoughts that are saying that this could just be the UN as usual, dishing out statistics
But he
that
just
may not
mentioned
be
that it's
accurate.
accurate and it aligns in accordance with the things that are going on in the country. So which means the UN might not be
Be
lying
lying this
entirely.
time around, right? I mean, but I think one of the major issues that we have concerning this food insecurity is actual insecurity in the
Exactly.
country because just like you mentioned, Benue State. Now, Benue has been a hot spot in recent times. People can't even go to their farm. I mean, even
Mm-mm.
in here too, people can't
It's
even go
affecting
to.
all even neighboring states as
Exactly.
well.
People can't go. I mean, rural communities are under stress. The economy is not helping matters either, People are
It's
finding it
just
hard.
We
like what he
be having
mentioned
a
that even
different
food
situation
prices are
today.
skyrocketed.
When
Not
it
just it's not just production that is affected, but even the what we have in store is also affected. But
Well,
looking at
he's
okay.
back with us. So let's continue. If you can hear us, please continue. We're talking about what you think about this ranking and what it reflects about our food situation. Please go on from where you stopped.
like I said, the ranking is accurate. The ranking is correct. Nigerians can tell you that even the ranking is not as we are supposed to have been ranked the worst. based on the experiences of Nigerians. Remember that in the past few years, we were not, let's use the issue of rice, for instance. I am into rice production. It's one of the major businesses that we're doing, and in the area of ensuring that Nigeria becomes rice sufficient. The past government did a lot in the rice business. The border closure to rice importation forced local production, and lots of our farmers went into production. Number two, lots of businessmen also invested into the value addition chain, the processing plant, the factories. In Benue, I have a network of 4 factories that I use to produce rice. Some of these rice processors can't process anymore because the cost of rice is dropping, not because we have improved our capacity in rice production, but because of the policy direction of the nation that allowed this present government now allow the importation of rice. But there's a problem to that. By this time next buy rice is going to skyrocket again, because now the farmers have cultivated rice, buying inputs, fertilizers, and all that at such a high rate, and they can't even sell at cost production. Why? Because of the imports that have come in. So they are not selling, they are not making money, they are running at loss. So a lot of farmers are not going to farm rice next by rice farming season. And as a result of that, we are going to have a deficiency in rice production that we have already overcome. Those are the problems that we're having. The government is not going in the right policy direction when it comes to agriculture. Okay, let's look at the issue of the tractors that were recently launched. We're supposed to be using those tractors now to prepare the soil for the next season farming. But all the tractors are still lying down in one location. There's no distribution. That was one of the reasons that we developed a program that we call the National In Program, where we are looking at the possibility of setting up real farmers that will have access to input at very good prices, and ensuring that these inputs are made available uniformly across the nation. So we developed the National Input Distribution Network, where we have coordinators from regional levels, at state levels, at local government levels, and then also to the world levels. And we have already gone as far as ensuring that this network of people are already identified from across the nation. And with that, it will be very easy for us to use the system to distribute the tractors. The tractors can get to the real farmers. Another thing that has been causing the problem, that has made Nigeria to be an food insecure nation, is what we call the political farmers. There are a group of people that are in the political corridor that they are the ones that assesses the government intervention, financial interventions, and otherwise, that are supposed to be channeled towards agriculture to ensure that we produce enough food to make Nigeria an exporter of food. We have the capacity. And because of this particular group of people who are always diverting the inputs, the interventions, the financial and otherwise interventions in agriculture, they keep diverting it for their personal use, not allowing it to get to the right farmers. That's one of the reasons why we are ranked where we are ranked. Now, we are importing dairy, we are importing rice, we are importing beans, we are importing virtually everything. And every import is actually an export of domestic jobs. And as long as we keep importing food and then exporting the jobs that our people are supposed to be engaged in and making money for themselves, there's no way we can change the dynamics of the world ranking where we are.
All right then. So how can Nigeria also build a more reliable food security data system in order to avoid this confusion around the real or imagined rankings?
We just have to do the farming the way farming is done. We are supposed to go into the technology. Farming is a good business. Farming has more profits than oil. Let me be very frank with you. If we invested into the exploration of agriculture 1/10 of what we invest into the exploration of oil and all most other natural resources, we will be far, far, far richer and will occupy a higher position, a better position in world ranking when it comes to food production. We will not only be producing food for subsistence, we'll be producing an agro-business, agricultural business. The agricultural business is different from subsistence farming. So you're farming as a means of earning. You're farming as a source, a major source of the economic development of the nation. And so the farmers are fully engaged. They are driven with technology, soil preparation. We're talking about irrigation. One of the areas we've been experiencing some positive transformation in Kebbi, especially in Kebbi State, in the agricultural sector. Kebbi State is able to farm agriculture 3 times a year. Why? Because of the irrigation. We should not be farming this year. We shouldn't be farming these days, waiting on rains and that. No, the world has moved away from that. We should be farming. We should be doing farming as a business. Look at Netherlands. Netherlands is a very small country. Yes, check their GDP. Nigeria cannot be compared. Why? Because they are into serious agriculture, deliberate agriculture. They decided that this is what we want to do with agriculture, and they went about doing it. If we don't do that, we will not be able to address the food insecurity, and the food insecurity is worsening. The people are already poorer because of the absence of opportunity to earn money, and then the people are becoming hungrier. The society is a job creation, and until we address those particular concerns, we are not going to be able to go anywhere. We are not going to change anything. We are not going to reduce from the ranking. The ranking is the ranking. I think that we should be more concerned, not about the ranking, global ranking of where we are positioned when it comes to food insecurity. We should be worried about the fact that the Nigerians are feeling the heat of the hunger. It's real. The hunger is real. The people are no longer able to afford food. Food used to be something that was okay. We were okay. At least if you have 100 naira, you can go and eat food. But now it is not the same way. And every day, over 70 to 80 million Nigerian youths and young women and children wake up without knowing where they are going to earn the next living. And the government is busy doing things that we don't understand. The political farmers must get out of the way. The actual farmers must begin to get the right inputs for food production. And we must begin to engage in commercial agriculture. My company has been recommending that we should do agriculture in such a way that it's an agricultural business. We use the commercial farms as employment portals for the youth at the local government levels. And then with that, we can now train them in best practices agriculture while we are producing food and processing food at source. That is the only way we can address the issues. That is the only way we can rise up in the global ranking, not just for food security, but also for being a country that produces enough food to make the world, to address the world global food insecurity. That is what we should be addressing. We should be addressing global food insecurity, not even Nigerian food security. Because Nigeria is supposed to be food secure. We have the land, we have the farmers, we have the resources. The resources are being provided by government that comes in, puts in so much money, but it does not get to the right farmers. To the farmers, it goes to the political farmers. They use the food inputs and food interventions as political settlements. We can no longer afford that. The people are hungry. The jobs are not there. We have land. Now we are now facing insecurity. The insecurity has become so bad that the farmers are now running away from the villages. It is high time we are able to reorganize our perspectives and our actions, and then begin to do agriculture in such a way that it becomes profitable. We should be having silos to absorb harvest, bumper harvest. And then we should have value addition. These are the things that needs to be addressed before, so we can achieve higher level of food production, and before we start worrying about the UN and the UN rankings on agriculture, on our food security.
Now you've highlighted some of the issues that need to be solved promptly, like the food production and the food affordability, amongst others. You also slightly mentioned about the conflicts, but I'd like you to further expand more on what specific indicators, apart from the ones you've mentioned, that are factors behind this food insecurity that we have. I'm talking of apart from what you've mentioned. Are there other things that are at play, other factors that are at play as well in all of this?
Yes, one of the things, like I mentioned, we started what we call the National Input Distribution Network that is supposed to help the farmers have access to inputs quick and cheap. And we started also discussing with our farmers to understand that there has to be a change in mindset in the agricultural, in our ways of cultivating food. There has to be a mindset shift, a re-engineering of the mindset of the people, so that number one, every farmer must know that we must farm right. If we are not farming right, the traceability that makes our food acceptable in the global market will not be there. So the farmer needs to understand that there are no short corners. You are not going to. You have to prepare your soil very well, and you must buy the right kind of seeds. Then you must use the right kind of treatments. If it is fertilization, it has to be specific. You feed the food well, the food will grow well. Treatments, we do the right kind of treatments. With that, we will be able to do agriculture in a business-minded way, and which is very, very important. If not so, the quality of food that you produce will not meet standards. So we have now begun a situation where like we said, we have created a network of farmers, of leaders, because leadership is primary in anything. I keep using the religious institutions as an example. You see, the religious institutions in Nigeria and Africa have been very successful because they've done just one thing. They've been able to aggregate people and giving them purposeful leadership in the pursuit of particular visions and goals. And the same thing we can do with agriculture. What we need to do is to create leadership, people who are interested in the agri space, who are interested not just in making money from the agricultural space, but in helping the farmers to make money for themselves in the agricultural space. So we now have, like we said, we have regional coordinators under our program. We have state coordinators already. They are all there. They're under our program. As I'm speaking to you, we have been able to do more than almost 500 local governments of Nigeria. We have local government coordinators. And right now we are doing ward coordinators. And like states like Kano, Kebbi, Jigawa, all their ward coordinators are already, we have their information and their data. And we are telling them to do it in a different way. We are not gathering these people for political or anything. We are only gathering them to give an opportunity for leadership in the agricultural sector. So our ward coordinators are like missionaries. We say what we call the religion of agriculture. So we speak one language. We don't care whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a pagan. We speak land, we speak seeds, we speak cultivation of food, we speak production of food and all that. So our ward coordinators are like missionaries who go to these grassroots and meet clusters of farmers. They sit down with them. They talk with them. They understand how many they are. They understand the name of their cooperative. They understand what land mass they are cultivating. They understand what kind of crop they are cultivating. And then they also find out for us what are their input needs. Because you see, if you do not have what it takes to farm, you will not be able to farm. And if you do not have what it takes to farm well, you won't farm good. Your harvest will not be as excellent as it can be. So with that, they interact, they fellowship with these farmers. They understand. They also let the farmers understand that they cannot be successful in the agricultural sector as individual farmers because they cannot individually afford the technologies that are required to heighten our agricultural production. But if we cluster them together, they become high-level investment portfolios that can attract such kind of financing and funding that makes it easy for us to provide technologies and other required inputs for them. So this approach is helping us to build a network of grassroots farmers that understand that their numbers count. Together, they can do better than they are doing individually. And then from the feedback we get from the ward coordinators that tells us, okay, this is the number of clusters of a cooperative of farmers has about 2,000 farmers, and they are farming corn, and their land mass, farming land mass is about 3,000 hectares, and their input needs like fertilizer is 1,000 bags or 2,000 bags. And okay, they have one tractor, it will be able to serve them for this period. And this is the amount of money, the kind of quantity of irrigation they have, and all that. That is the only way you can build agriculture from the grassroots. and then it comes up. So food is produced at source, and then the jobs are also created at source. You'll see that we'll be better in all that we're supposed to be doing agricultural wise.
Okay, then let's talk about the some reforms that were in place before now in order to help our economy grow. I'm talking about the agricultural policy that was under Obasanjo from 1999 to the 2007. Obasanjo had treated agriculture as a strategic sector, second to oil. You know, encouraging people to have little gardens at the back of their houses and things like that. If we go back, implement such reforms, do you think it's going to be a way out of this crisis? Because some people see farming as things that villagers do, things for the underdeveloped areas. What do you think about such reforms?
It's fantastic. You know, most of us, like me, as I'm sitting here, when we were growing up, we all had gardens at our back of our houses. Our moms didn't have to go and buy pepper and some kind of some people sometimes tomatoes from the market because they are all grown behind our houses. And today now we are living in big compounds that our flower has become there's only flowers. But with all those places that you have flowers, especially towards the backside of the house, should be farmed, so that it will not be that everybody is contributing in food production. Those are some of the things that the government did in those days. But now there's another dimension that we are looking at. It. We have discovered that there is what is called the virtual space. We can also develop what is called the virtual farmers. We have actually developed a concept, and we are about to start introducing it. Now, what we are doing is to say that as you are in the studio, you can actually become a farmer, or you can participate in our Farm the Farmers program. And what do I mean by that? The cultural farmer in Enugu State I came to Enugu State actually some time ago, and we had consultations with rice farmers, about 2,000 hectares of that farmers that farm within an order. We had a very robust meeting in Enugu. And the one thing they told me then was that there are no tractors. That even if I could find tractors, 2 tractors for them in Enugu State, for them to use in agriculture, it will really enhance production. So, but here we are. We have a cluster of 2,000 rice farmers. They don't have tractor, but you are there. Maybe 5 of you in the studio can afford to buy a tractor, just like it's an Uber-like kind of franchise that we came up with, where you can own the tractor and decide that your tractor should be deployed to the Enugu farmers, rice farmers in Enugu State. But now the tractor is not for them to use and pay. No, they aggregate their funds. They can aggregate their money. 2,000 hectares. You know that tractorization is to 35,000 naira per hectare. 2 hectares, or that they gather their money. So they pay for the tractor. The tractor is deployed to the state, so they pay to use the tractor. So you that own the tractor, you are there doing your work on the television set, but you are helping, you are cultivating the farmers. You own the tractors that the farmers are using. So that is one of the approach that we have begun to develop, and we also develop what we call the private sector farms. So we are cutting out. Starting with what we call the civil servant farms. What does it mean? It means that we can have 5,000 hectares of farmland in one location, partitioned into 5,000 hectares, each one hectare. We determine the kind of crops that we want to plant in that arrangement. So a civil servant can purchase the rights for an hectare. If he or she provides the input needs, the seeds, the tractorization, the soil preparation, the cost of treatment, and all that. And then at the end of the season, he or she shares from the profit. While we are doing what that does is that somebody is working for that 1 hectare. A person is employed to work for that civil servant in that particular farm that is leased, and then that person is being paid. So we create jobs. Number one. Number two, the production phases goes on, and then at the end of the season, he or she makes some money. He gets, because it's food. The food is produced. If you want us to sell your food for you and pay you money, we'll sell your food and give chance, pay you money. If you want us